Hi everyone, and welcome to Creative Chelsey. Today I'm excited to be sharing with you my third alternative project using the June 2022 paper pumpkin kit called Pick of the Crop. This fun kit created 9 cards, 3 in 3 different designs. If you would like to see me unbox this kit so that you can see everything that came inside, or watch any of my other alternative projects, you can click on the playlist and I'll link it up here in the top right corner. Today we're going to be using some of the die cut pieces, some card bases pieces, and just having a really fun time creating these 2 beautiful cards. If you are new to my channel and want to see more of my videos, click on the subscribe button and then the bell for notifications. I would love to be your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and help you with any of your paper crafting needs. To purchase any of the products you see me use today, or to subscribe to Paper Pumpkin, please use the links in the description below. So let's go ahead and get started making these cards. So both of these cards use elements from this card base. You can see a little bit of that striping down here, and then the pink picnic blanket in the background there. If by chance you don't have this card base, you can use this striped pink for the picnic blanket, and then you could easily make something else work for this. So you could easily make this card if you don't have any of these card bases, but I just thought this was a fun way to separate the elements from the front of this card base. So let's go ahead and begin by removing the front from the back, and we'll just cut that right in half at 4 1/4 inches. Then when you look at this front of the card base, please take note that there are some larger triangles and then some smaller ones. So we want to cut the picnic blanket out by following this line and cutting the larger triangles first, and then going in and cutting the smaller sides. So the best way to do this is to just line up the edge of the picnic blanket with your cut line and just trim right across. If by chance you get any little extra color, you can just trim that off with a pair of paper snips. And then go ahead and do the same on this side. And then you're going to go ahead and cut off the side so that you have a nice rectangle for your picnic blanket. Okay, so we want to have this piece for this first card, and then we're going to use the smaller triangles for the second card. So you want to find the largest one, which is going to be this one in the back, and you're going to place that on the side. We are going to use this for our next alternative project, so go ahead and put that off to the side. And then these other ones are the ones we're going to use down here, so you can pick 2 out of those 3. So for the card, I used a card base of Sahara sand, and then I also have an accent piece in Sahara sand that's 2 inches by 5 1/2 inches, and I have embossed it with the brick and mortar 3D embossing folder. So I'm just going to go ahead and add that to the center of my card base with some strong adhesive. I'm going to use my grid paper to kind of find the center. So I'm going about 1 inch from the top. So there might be a little bit more at the bottom. So this would be 1 inch, and this might be 1 1/4 inches, but that's okay, as long as it's nice and straight across the top. Then I'm going to add my picnic blanket. And I'm just going to place that off to the left just a little from center. So not quite centered for that one. Then I've got some die cut pieces from the kit. So we're going to begin with the bread. I did pop everything up with dimensionals, and you can use the dimensionals that come in the kit. These little mini dimensionals I just have on hand, so I'm going to go ahead and add these. I do want to add this at an angle, and you can have it go all the way to this side of your card base. So you'll get something that looks like this. Then just kind of fill it in with any of the die cuts from the kit that you might have left over from doing some other cards or projects. So I've got some lavender here, and I'm going to place that off to the side at an angle. I did pop it up with a dimensional, and then I also have some of the cheese, kind of creating a fun little picnic idea here. And kind of pop that next to the lavender and nice and level. Then I'm going to take the little pick label and I'm going to trim off the triangle because I just want a rectangle for this card. And then I'm going to do the same with the vellum. Then I'm going to stamp my greeting in Blackberry Bliss. I'm just going to do Thinking of You. And if you don't have Blackberry Bliss, you could easily use a different coordinating color. Then I'm going to add that rectangle to the center of my vellum piece. And then add that to my card with dimensionals. Let's see. You make sure to place those dimensionals behind the paper label so that you don't see them. And then you can kind of tuck that in between the cheese and the bread. Then I've tied a bow with about 6 to 8 inches of linen thread. This did come in the kit. And I am going to add it with a glue dot underneath my greeting. So I'm just going to take that knot and place a glue dot and then just slide it right underneath on the right side. And that card is all done. Super quick and easy, and uses up a bunch of those beautiful die cuts that came in the kit. Now, I did want to just kind of roughly give you an idea on how you could use the envelope paper. So I have the Blushing Bride Stampin' Write marker, and I thought that we could create a checkered pattern by using this and just adding our own stripes. And since the original stripes are hand-drawn, you just kind of want to go about the same distance that they have, just to give it, you know, that even feeling. So you can create a similar look if you don't have this picnic blanket from that card base. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to card number 2. So from the kit, we need those extra pieces of the blue stripes. And then, do you remember this piece from the card base from yesterday's alternative projects? If by chance you didn't do those alternative projects and you want to make this card, you could also cut a piece from the an envelope. So I am working on a So Saffron card base. And so we're just going to create a really fun landscape behind our cart. So we're going to start by stamping on this piece with garden green ink and the little lavender branch that is in the stamp set. So go ahead and ink this up, and you're just going to stamp this randomly on this piece. It can be any height. that you want. Okay, so you'll end up with something like this. Then you're going to go ahead and tear the top. You just want to tear a little bit off. I love getting that little white border when you tear paper that has a white core. So that's a really fun look, I think. Okay, so we're going to start with our triangle pieces. So you can pick which ones you want to use. I actually might put this next big one off to the side and use some of these smaller pieces. Let's see if I can get, well, looks like I'll be using this piece. So I will be using that bigger piece. So I'm going to trim it down just a little bit, just so that I can get it the same size as this piece here, so that everything's about the same. I guess I could have also torn that, but okay, so I just used my paper snips and trimmed it. So what I'm going to do now is just tear it. So now I'm tearing it shorter. Come on, there we go. So tear that top edge. So make sure that you're not tearing your right angle. So here's my right angle, and it's that angle opposite of your right angle. I'm struggling getting a good tear here. There we go. Okay, so that's going to go down first. And I'm just going to add adhesive to the bottom edge. And this is going to help me so that I can tuck things in underneath. And there will be a slight border, so go ahead and add a little border there. So that's the first piece. Then I'm going to take the second piece, and it's going to go on the right side. And I'm just going to tear. And they're going to overlap. And what I think is fun is the different angles of the lines. So that's kind of a fun thing. Again, a little adhesive. Same border all the way around. So just try to match that up. Okay, so that's our first step. Then you're going to take your green piece and tuck it in underneath. So this is why we didn't add adhesive. And this piece is actually feeling a little big. So that means I need to make my border just a little bit smaller on this side. Okay. There, that's a little bit better. So then again, add adhesive on the bottom and then tuck that in. You want to tuck it all the way down so that we don't see any yellow. And make sure there's a good border. Okay, so get something like this. And then the last piece we're going to add is some Blushing Bride. And this is just 1 1/4 inch by 5 3/16, just to match the rest of the pieces. And I'm just going to go ahead and tear this. So you can see here that Stampin' Up! Cardstock does not have a white core. The color goes all the way through. And so you get a little different look there when you tear. This Stampin' Seal Plus is very sticky, so sometimes you do tear a little bit on the back. Anyway, so this gets tucked in next underneath everything. And you can decide how much of that to show. Okay, so the bottom half of that card base has this really fun landscape look to it. Now we're going to add our cart. And I do have the popped up here at the top. Here are my large dimensionals. And then the wheels actually have some glue dots on them to just stick down onto this area. I didn't want those popped up. So just a couple glue dots right there in the center of the wheels. And then you can place this off to the left just a little bit. And I'm looking for it to be even at the top. So the straight line here is about even with the top of my card base. Okay, so something like this. And then we're just going to do our greeting next. So I have a circle, and this circle is 1.5 inches. And I was thinking it would be nice to stamp the greeting in Night of Navy, just to kind of pull in that nice dark color. I am using the Thinking of You stamp set again, and just stamp that right in the center of the circle. Pop that up with a dimensional. And add that to the side of your cart. Then I have another bow with linen thread from 6 to 8 inches, and I'm just going to tuck that next to my circle with a glue dot. We're not quite done. I just remembered that I do need to add my little loaves here. So the original card had just one loaf, but they give us so many of these little tiny loaves that I decided to do 2 of them. So I'm just going to add them with a glue dot to my cart. So this first one I'm going to have kind of come up a little bit. And then the second one is going to go over that. I'm going to bring this up just slightly, give me a little bit more room. So just like that. Okay, there you go. This card is all done. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching me create these 2 beautiful cards using the die cuts from the kit. If you're interested in getting written instructions or seeing close-up images of these cards, you can visit my blog, creativechelsey.com. If you'd like to subscribe to Paper Pumpkin so that you can get your own quick and easy crafting kit each month, please use the link in the description below to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. Have a creative day. Bye.